Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the official I Am Wrestling After Show, AfterShock. My name is Dan Prady, and as always, I am joined by my broadcast partner. He is the man that puts the G in Gordon solely, Dan Etzioni. Dan, how are you tonight?
Dan, I'm doing well. What a night we had last night. Unbelievable show. The first ever live interactive wrestling going out with flying colors. I mean, what a show. What a night that was.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. You want to talk about revolutionizing the business. That's what we do at I Am Wrestling. We innovate. We adapt. That is what our reputation is and what we are known for. But more specifically, we're known for that because of all of you, the I Am Wrestling fans. Last night, you showed up. You showed out. And we couldn't be more proud of each and every one of you that came and joined us on our historic broadcast. But Dan, I'm going to let you tell those that may not have been able to catch our broadcast exactly what is interactive wrestling.
Well, of course you will, because I can explain it better than anyone else on the planet. And, you know, me and you don't agree on a lot of things. However, I will agree with you on one thing. The fans made last night's show amazing. And that's exactly the purpose of live interactive wrestling. It's to bring you, the fans at home, closer to the ring than ever before. Live interactive wrestling is where you have a chance to participate in the action like never before. And we are the first to do it, and it's going to be absolutely revolutionary for this sport. You can call moves, you can suggest weapons to use, you can egg wrestlers on in real time, and it was amazing.
Couldn't agree more with you. I mean, it was something that I had myself never been a part of, but to be able to see each and every one of you that have tuned in week after week and helped us build this brand be a part of our show. It's like something I've ever seen before. And there was 4 amazing competitors in that ring. We had our 2 current and reigning defending champions. First, the Urban Empire champion, the real McKeel, our current ECC champion, El Presidente. And then you had the 2 rivals. You had not only TMD, but also our special guest tonight for all of you, the RingMaster. And what a showing they put on for all of you, the fans. All 4 gentlemen. It was a strange battle. It was a mixed tag, if you will. You had on one side of the ring the real McKeel and TMD, El Presidente and the RingMaster on the other. What were a couple things that stood out to you during this contest?
Well, I got to say, towards the beginning of this match, you really had a lot of fan suggestions that were changing the course of the match completely, especially at the beginning with those vicious chops we saw very early on in the contest. However, I think both of us know that the whole dynamic of the match, the entire course of this match, of this contest, and of these 4 men's careers changed once that stop sign was introduced. Of course, if you watch the broadcast at the very beginning of the show, we unveiled that if we hit 5,000 bits, we would be bringing a stop sign into the match. And that happened pretty early on in the match. And that changed the whole dynamic completely.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. We had a goal at the very beginning of our broadcast, 5,000 bits. You, the fans at home, didn't even just hit 5,000 bits. You knocked it out of the park. And we couldn't thank you enough for that because, as you mentioned, that's what introduced the stop sign. And believe me when I say this, and I know that you agree with me, that's going to be a revolving feature. We're going to talk about it a little bit later on, but what other weapons could we possibly introduce for all you, the fans at home? Kendo sticks, ladders, tables, chairs. I mean, the possibilities are infinite, especially when it comes to interactive wrestling. The damage that can be done between those 4 corners is absolutely insurmountable.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and again, you got to get those Twitch bits. You got to donate, but you're getting your voice heard and you can change the course of the entire match. Like, imagine if that stop sign wasn't introduced to that match. Would the RingMaster have been able to pick up that win? Who knows? And that might change his career, put him in title contention. Like, there's so many things that can be impacted by the fans with live interactive wrestling, and it changes the dynamics and the course of wrestlers' careers.
Couldn't agree more with you. I mean, it's one of those things that, again, we cannot stress enough. It is you, the fans, that have been able to build this house, so to speak, brick by brick. And last night, you really did show us exactly who each and every one of you are, and we couldn't be more proud of that. But like you said, I mean, there's a lot of things that can transpire based on this. We're not exactly sure what the next couple of matches are going to be moving forward, but we saw at the end of the broadcast possibly a champion versus champion in the future. You, the fans at home, are going to have a say in a championship match sooner than later. And that goes back to what we mentioned at the top of the broadcast. We are revolutionizing the wrestling business. I cannot stress that enough. That is what we are doing here at I Am Wrestling.
Yeah, definitely. And, going forward with which matches we're going to see, obviously the champion versus champion match between El Presidente and the Real McKeel. Everyone wants to see that rematch. Last time they were in that hardcore match, that was absolutely insane. And seeing that rivalry renewed would be great. However, the RingMaster and TMD both want to intervene. They both want to get their names in title contention. So I don't know. After last night, I might be more interested in seeing the RingMaster challenge for one of those titles as opposed to a champion versus champion match that we saw brewing in the course of last night's match.
Definitely so. I want to circle back to one thing first for those of you at home that may not be on Twitch quite yet and understand what we're talking about when we talk about bits. Bits are a virtual currency. They are 1 penny. You heard me right. That is 1 penny each. You can buy bits by the bushel, by the stockload, whatever adjective you need to use. But literally, you can buy thousands of bits at a time. They are worth a penny. And we set a certain goal. And it is with your help that we introduce, as you see on your screen right there, tables, ladders, chairs, trash cans. I mean, that possibilities are infinite. So we encourage all you, the I Am Wrestling fans. Twitch is free. You sign up with a free Twitch account, and then you're able to invest in the digital currency known as bits. And that's where our true interaction with you comes in.
Yeah, and going more on that, we don't charge for our shows. I Am Wrestling is free for everyone, but the way that we can get you involved in the match, which no other wrestling company on the planet is doing, is by your participation using bits. We'll take your move suggestions, but you can change the entire dynamic of the match by donating using those bits throughout the course of our program.
And more specifically, I mean, we tapped on it very briefly there, but you, the fans, are going to be a part of the match. I mean, as you see right there, the Real McKeel shouting out an individual that donated last night. He was able to literally hear what you asked for and then give you the results. You are in control. If you have ever wanted to feel like you are playing a virtual reality wrestling, whatever adjective, again, that you could possibly come up with, I mean, you are in control. We cannot stress that this is for you, all the I Am Wrestling fans at home.
Yeah, definitely. Who knows what weapons are to come in the future? I mean, that is really going to be something to watch for and look forward to. I mean, I was so excited after last night. I loved live interactive wrestling, and I cannot wait till next Tuesday to see the very next edition of live interactive wrestling.
Couldn't agree with me more, but let's go ahead and circle back to, before we get to our special guest, the rivalry that you barely mentioned onto there was the TMD RingMaster rivalry. It goes back months in the making. The first time we actually were introduced to both of these gentlemen, TMD reintroducing himself to all the I Am Wrestling fans, and RingMaster for the first time was at our Turmoil match. That was our Thanksgiving special to all the fans. And we saw for a brief 30 seconds to a minute how it went from competition to personal. What are your thoughts when it comes to both of these gentlemen? And I guess for me, what is your theory as to why it got so personal so fast?
I mean, they're both super, super competitive. That's the one thing I know about both these guys. Obviously, we had TMD on last week, and he showed a lot of personality. He showed a lot of who he is. And, he wants to win. He wants to be in that title contention. However, the RingMaster is someone we don't know as much. We don't know as well. He came out of nowhere, and he wanted to make an impact immediately. And I'm telling you one thing, that impact was heightened even more after that win last night. I mean, when you're picking up a tag win, when both champs are involved, that is not something that anyone can brush off.
Yeah, I agree with you. The two things that stand out to me are how physical it's been and really the mental warfare that I think the RingMaster has been playing on TMD. He has gotten underneath the skin of TMD, I think a lot more than TMD's got under his skin. As you mentioned, we don't know a lot about the RingMaster, and hopefully in just a few moments when we bring him on, we'll learn a little bit more. I'll at least do my very best. That being said,
investigative journalism.
Well, that being said, I mean, it's just the physicality of everything. That turmoil match we saw, it went from 0 to 100 that quick. I mean, by the end of that minute and a half, they were throwing street signs at one another's head. I mean, that's to put up. It doesn't happen every day. I mean, we don't see things like that. They were brawling out of the KnokX Pro domain. They were throwing haymakers with bad intentions. I mean, from the get. And then, every week from there, we've seen this progression. Week after week, the guys interfering in each other's matches, taking it that much further. We gave them a 10-minute exhibition, and they couldn't even come up with the winner. I even pondered that night, where does it go from here? How do these two settle the score? TMD mentioned Cage, TLC, Street Fight. Well, guess what? Now we get to decide that. When the time comes and management finds it appropriate, you, the I Am Wrestling fans at home, and all our Twitch affiliates, you're going to be able to go in there, take the stipulation. You're going to have bits, that digital currency we spoke about. You're going to be able to introduce weapons that maybe you've never seen before into that match. And if there's one guarantee, they're both going to bring it. Both TMD and the RingMaster. They're going to bring it, and they're going to bring it hard.
Yeah, no, definitely. But one thing I do want to touch on is during that turmoil match, I was extremely critical of both competitors because they had an opportunity to win a championship in that match, and neither man took advantage of it because they were both more focused on beating the absolute holy hell out of each other as opposed to winning that championship. However, I will see that I've already started to watch the RingMaster change focus a bit, because last night he was more concerned with picking up that victory than he was with just destroying TMD. And when we had TMD on last week, his sole focus was the RingMaster. But the RingMaster made his message known loud and clear after last night that he has his sights set on those titles.
Yeah, I mean, before we bring it on, one last thought, kind of carrying on what you just said there, the very ending of that match, El Presidente went for the cover. I mean, he had him covered, and he swung that stop sign with bad intentions right across the very back of El Presidente, and the words exactly were, "I told you not to make me mad." I'm not sure what Presidente did to make him mad, but he certainly made him mad enough that he hit him with the stop sign, and then he pinned TMD, kind of rubbing his nose in the dirt.
Yeah, that was his moment to shine.
All right, well, listen, if you fans at home are ready, I'm ready. Let's bring him on. Ladies and gentlemen, let's meet him, the RingMaster.
One sinister beast, one known only as
RingMaster.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the museum, the Wax Museum. Thousands of dead souls covered in wax.
RingMaster, how are you?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. How are you doing?
I am well, and I appreciate you joining us. So let's just get first things out of the way. We've been billing you from parts unknown. Where exactly are you from, and what are your intentions when it comes to I Am Wrestling? Because you certainly showed up and showed out last night.
Well, you guys say parts unknown, but it's known everywhere. I've been all around the world. I've seen it all. And I'm usually in the dark corners of the areas. A lot of people are known as freaks, weirdos, strangers. To me, that's normal. We're usually kind of like the quiet ones and whatnot. But see, for the past year or so, everything's been kind of wacky and crazy. So I'm just this platform that came out of nowhere. And for some reason, everyone seems that I'm just this thing that came out of nowhere. But what I really am is just this guy that's just out here to display some wrestling. And I am from everywhere at this point.
Fair enough. I like that. So let's just get right to it. Last night, you were involved in a tag team match in our very first ever interactive wrestling here at I Am Wrestling. The fans got the choice. They were certainly involved in that match, and you were involved in it in particular. Tell me how that experience was and the message to the fans, those that were asking you to perform moves and those in the future as far as the bits and getting certain weapons involved. Tell me about the experience as far as being in the ring with interactive wrestling.
See, last night was an experience I have never felt before. Something happened to me last night because week after week, I've been coming out, doing what I have to do here at the world's famous KnokX Pro domain. And something about what the people were doing, because we have not had any shows where we could display our art in front of fans. But for some weird reason, last night the fans came into us. I felt them in my own blood. It was really strange. As I was reading what they wanted, it was something different. I enjoyed the fact that they were puppeteering me. And something about puppeteering a human being, which a lot of society could feel, was interesting. When I was reading what they wanted and giving it to them, it gave me something different. It made me feel like a thing I've never felt before. And it gave me some kind of power that I was just like, I don't even know what was happening to myself. But the fact that the people were controlling what we wanted, how we displayed what we needed to do. I was doing things I've never even done before, and that was exciting. So
I agree.
I don't know.
When you go ahead.
I don't know, but all I wanted to say was like, I'm ready for more of this.
Yeah, I mean, I want to tap onto that. I mean, we saw you bust out a figure 4 lock last night. I mean, that was incredible. That was something that was unexpected. But the I Am Wrestling fans at home, those, we saw so many bright young faces out there. Some names that I remember offhand, there was a Richard Riley, there was a Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. I mean, we saw everyone, Lucha Parts, but they were all participants. And I have to ask you, when you see moves that, as you mentioned, you haven't performed, it's one of the core values of KnokX Pro Entertainment, adapting. Talk to me about the adaptation process last night in the ring.
Talk about adaptation. Very true. Like I said, when the match was over, I did not understand what was happening to my soul. I just know that I went out there to do my job. And I got a call to be part of this amazing tag team match. And when the fans kind of took over my body, I felt released. I felt pressure was no more. I had so many intentions to go after TMD, which I'm still going to, but my focus wasn't even there. He was just there. He was laid out, of course. I knew that was going to happen, but still, my mind was like not even focused on that at the moment. So the fact that the fans have been taking over what we do, I don't know. I'm really looking forward to see what's happening with all this.
Definitely. And, to tap onto that, I know that the real McKeel, we mentioned on the broadcast, was like the Iron Man of that match. He was in it for a long time, but I don't think that does you enough credit either. You were certainly in that ring for just as much as a long time as well. Talk to me about the cardio that was involved, the endurance that you had to endure as you went through like I said, again, it was all about adapting last night. I think that's the key word there is when you're in a match that's so interactive with so many different voices and things being acknowledged and heard. I mean, talk to us about that part of it, the endurance part.
Endurance was definitely there, Like I said, my mind wasn't in any of that. When I had my partner, we were going in and out, but for some reason, my partner was in there a little bit too long, to the point where I wanted to help him. But for some reason, every time we had an opportunity to get help, he just kind of stood in there. So it kind of like made me twitch a little bit, no pun intended. But the fact that we almost lost several times, that was really upsetting me. And then I could see what the people wanted out there, and we weren't delivering what they wanted, everything. And there was so many opportunities we had. And that kind of made me upset a little. So at the very end, it was more about like, let's just get this over with and give the people what they wanted.
Yeah,
Let's
pivot to that. So your partner was our current reigning and defending ECC champion, El Presidente. At the very end of that match, there was, I wouldn't even call it a miscommunication. I mean, it was, you hit him with that stop sign with bad intentions. Can you pull it back a little bit and tell us what happened there? And what was the message being sent to the ECC champ there?
No offense on that. He's the champ. I mean, he's the top dog with another champ in there. But I just felt like we could have done so much more. we had a lot of tag team matches in the past, because I've been around here and there, like I said, I come out of the dark, out of the woodwork. If you've seen some of the KnokX Pro house shows, I've been around. But the fact that we didn't get to pull off what we really wanted to do, what I really wanted to display out there, it was very upsetting. And the fact that there were so many things that the people wanted that we weren't able to give, that was also a little upsetting. So I got a little upset. He was going for the cover, and technically he wasn't even the legal guy. I was. So, I had to straighten him out a little bit, Keep it
absolutely. I can empathize with that. So, circling back to TMD, this rivalry goes back months in the making. When we were first introduced to yourself and TMD, it was during our Thanksgiving turmoil for all the I Am Wrestling fans at home that may have caught that, may have not. But it started out with you two, and it started out as a competition, but it got personal so fast. I mean, I can remember vividly that night sitting in the broadcast booth, and I've told people I've never seen anything like it. It went from 0 to 100 quicker than I could snap my own two fingers. And I mean, by the end of it, there was a street sign thrown at someone's head, and then the haymakers were coming left and right, hot and heavy, whatever you want to say. I mean, what happened there?
Well, I wanted to be a wrestling match. I wanted to be, display some wrestling. All of a sudden, he wanted to fight. So, you want to fight? We'll fight, of course. He was a little upset earlier. I mean, it's not my fault I didn't want to shake his hand when he's got chicken wings and eating all kinds of slobbery food and trying to introduce himself. I mean, I'm not going to shake someone's hand when they're filled with barbecue sauce at the moment. It was nothing bad, I said hi later, but I think he took it the wrong way. So he had something that he had against me that night. When I was ready to lock up and do some, display some of our wrestling talent, he just wanted to start fighting. So he wants to fight, he got to fight, and for some reason, I wasn't even concerned about the title that night. I was just concerned about you slap me, I'll slap you. You hit me, I'll hit you.
Absolutely. That's exactly how it went down. For those that aren't aware, you eliminated yourself in order to continue the assault, so to speak. And like I said, when that street sign came whizzing by his head, I can tell you both myself and Dan both, whoa. That being said, a week later, you guys were given a 10-minute, time limit contest to solve things. And to say things went unresolved, I think is an understatement. You guys went at it. You guys went to war. And in 10 minutes, we could not declare a winner. So I asked him this last week. I'll ask you the same thing. Where does this end?
You know what? It might not even ever end. He's a great competitor. He's a great fighter. He's a great wrestler. To see who's really going to, go out on top, I don't know. Just give us any kind of a match. That's the thing. We obviously had our 10-minute match. There was no winner. It's obvious, he will not quit. He's not going to lay out for the 1, 2, 3, and neither will I. So give us something special, a cage match, a ladder match, a strap match, a no-holds-barred match, a street fight, anything. He's got long hair. I've got long hair. Who knows? Any kind of match. I am not scared to go against Team D, and I like the fact that, I'm under his skin because that's what I like, because now he wants to fight. There is no more wrestling. We're fighting now.
I like that. So I'm going to end it with this. What's your message as far as our champions, but also to the entire locker room and anybody out there that may think that they want to step between the ropes with the RingMaster? What's the message?
Well, the message is, let's go out there and give the people a show. I'm here to, show my talent. My talent is wrestling. I have a lot of moves under my sleeves. I have a lot of frustrations, as a lot of people do have under their sleeves. And if anyone wants to step in and fill it out, then I am more willing to fill it out with you and see where it goes from here. I am ready for anything. Just bring it. KnokX Pro is a place to be. The worldwide wrestling. This is it. Bring it. Anybody.
There you have it. I appreciate your time. I look forward to calling many more of your matches in the future. Thank you, RingMaster, for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
This will create pain into your life. One sinister beast,
one note only. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the museum, the Wax Museum. Thousands of dead souls coming in.
There you have it, Dan. I tell you, I think I've learned quite a bit. You know, for weeks we have said we don't know a lot. Well, I certainly know quite a bit now about the RingMaster. I
don't understand how you got anything from that interview. The guy talks in riddles. I don't know. That was I'm more confused than I was going in.
Well, I think his intentions are certainly clear. I think that, you know, he certainly has championship aspirations, but more importantly, he is certainly focused on TMD. And I definitely believe that's going to happen in the future when it comes to those two. They are certainly going to clash sooner rather than later.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the guy may speak in riddles, but he wrestles a very vicious and distinct style. And I'm excited to see what's next for him. But again, after that big win last night, he's got to be pretty high up on the card.
Yeah, I mean, and one other person that may not have been there last night that I think deserves a little bit of a mention is Toa Leona. You know, he was just there last week, and we saw an absolute barn burner between him and Fabuloso Fabricio. But I'm going to keep the focus on what happened this week. Just keep in mind, you know, we got to keep him, when you talk about the pecking order, I'm sure he's also near the top as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as we speak about each and every week, there are so many competitors who want a chance to face our two illustrious and prestigious champs. But as we saw the real McKeel go 45 minutes last night, and we saw El Presidente coming up a little bit short, but going definitely over 30, our champs are war tested. They are ready to go at all times. And as great as the competition is, it's going to be very, very difficult to knock either of those two men off of their pedestals.
I agree with you. And I just want to reach out right now to all the fans at home and say, if you are so inclined and you're enjoying what you're seeing, both on the after show, also during our live show, we kindly accept donations on both of our Cash App and Venmo. Those are both opportunities for you to join us as well on Twitch, as we mentioned with the BIT program. We really do want to see each and every one of you each and every week. It's your opportunity to really change the landscape of professional wrestling. This is the only wrestling that you will see that is so interactive on a level that you will never see anywhere else, courtesy of KnokX Pro Entertainment.
Yep. Wow, I'm very impressed, Dan. Very, very good way of putting it. But yeah, live interactive wrestling is going to be an absolute game changer. And if you haven't tuned in yet, make sure to go watch back yesterday's edition of I Am Wrestling, because this is going to be the bar for the future. We've went there, and now this is going to be the bar for future wrestling organizations to come. But more importantly, we did it first and we did it best. This is live interactive wrestling. This is I Am Wrestling. And here's how you can be a part of the movement before anyone else gets a chance to.
Absolutely right. Like I said, I couldn't have said it better. Just as you mentioned, we are revolutionizing wrestling. I want that to kind of settle in for all of you fans at home. You, the I Am Wrestling fans at home, are revolutionizing wrestling. We appreciate you once again joining us for this small little bit of a half hour out of your day. We sincerely appreciate it. Again, my name is Dan Prady. He is Dan Etzioni. We look forward to seeing you each and every week. First with I Am Wrestling, your live wrestling extravaganza every Tuesday, 7:30 on the West, 10:30 on the East. And then every Wednesday, this is the AfterShock After Show. Good night.